this video, I'd like to show you how to use the desktop version of Microsoft Word to format an MLA style paper. First, you need to know that as a Gateway student, you have access to a free version of Word that you can download to your machine that you can use for as long as you're a student. So don't get caught by a trial version that may have come with your machine. Those tend to expire about the time that you need to use Word. So download it. I can show you how to do that or point you to the video that shows you how to do that. But right now what we want to do is format our paper. So we can go to File and go to New and create a blank document here. And now we want to change the font and the font size. That's the first thing we do for Microsoft Word. So we have Calibri. Calibri is a really small font. MLA likes Times New Roman and 12-point font. However, as long as it's a reasonable font, like it's not something weird like French script here or some of the other weird things, you can use it with your professor's permission. I've started experimenting with Courier New recently because I've been told that it's easier to proofread and it's easier for people who might be dyslexic. So you might experiment doing stuff in Courier New and see if it's helpful to you. The next thing that you want to do is set your line spacing. You do that by going to the line spacing stuff here. You can just click 2.0 to double space it, but go down to the line spacing options and make sure that the spacing before and after when you hit enter is set to 0. If it's set more like it is here, it's going to open up a few more lines between paragraphs. And so you'll have these big gaps between your paragraphs or it'll make your MLA header look really weird. So make that 0, make the line spacing be double, and click OK. The next thing that you want to do is type the MLA header. Now this is not in the header space of the document. It is the first 4 lines of the first page of your document. And it is double spaced, it's on the left margin, and it consists of your name as the student, your professor's name, and the course name, ENG 101 or 102, whichever one applies for you. I'm doing this so both my classes can have access to this later. And then the date. And the date can be, if you want to be super MLA compliant, MLA likes to use day and then month and then year. So I'm doing this on the 24th of January, 2022. And now you've got your header set. Now you're on the 5th line of the document. The next thing you need to do is put your title on the document. This needs to be representative of the content of the paper, not what assignment it was. So don't call it rough draft or literacy narrative or research paper. Make it be something, put some time into it to make it something that we will want to read by just reading the title. So be a little creative about that. You do want to center it. So you're on the left margin right now. You're going to use the centering button to put your cursor in the center. Don't just space it over a bunch of times. Now, I just said to be creative with your titles, but I am not feeling creative today. So we're just going to type centered title because this is a demo and that's what you need to remember. Title needs to be centered. Hit enter again and notice that you're still centered. So what you want to do now is come back up here to the button and go back to the left margin. And now you're ready to start typing your paper. You want to always hit tab to indent. And then I'm just going to paste in some text here that I grabbed earlier. It's sort of dummy text that printers use a lot of times. You can see it's all in kind of pseudo-Latin. But this just shows kind of how a paper would look laid out on the page. It has not indented my other paragraphs, so I'm going to go quickly and just grab them here and indent them. But as you're typing, you will probably find that every time that you, in fact, I'll do it here at the bottom. If I hit enter again, notice it's already it's figured out that I want to have stuff indented. So you don't need to hit tab if it's doing this for you. Okay, so now the last thing that we need to do here is put our page number in the top right. There's a couple of ways to do it. You can double click up in the top. You can also go insert and then page number for the header and footer. And then top of the page, you want it to be plain number 3. So you click on that. And now it's put the page number in there for you, and it increments for you too. Put your cursor in front of this, which it already kind of is, and then you just need to type your last name in a space, and I'll actually spell it right. Right. And the last thing that you see here is that this is not at all matching up with your Courier new font It's a lot smaller for one thing. So what you want to do instead is go back over at home, highlight that, and instead of Calibri 11, go ahead and match it up to whatever it is that you've chosen. In my case, it's Courier New 12-point font. And now it's all going to be there. So the last thing that you need to do after you've got your paper typed, certainly at some point early in the process, save your paper. Now notice that Word helpfully when I started gave me a file name, but it's not the file name that's going to be useful for me. I've got hundreds of documents. I need to have it do whatever you need to do to make a consistent way that you name your files, a naming convention, so that you always know what it is that you're trying to submit. You don't have to look inside the document to find out. For me, I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm just going to go to the Downloads folder here. And I'm going to, I like to use the date, 2022-01-24 is one way to do it. Underbar, and then the assignment itself. This is where you can use things like draft and research paper. I'm going to say this is a literacy narrative draft, and I'm going to abbreviate it. Whatever you know works for you is fine. And then I'm going to underbar it again, and I'm going to put the class that it's for, so English 101. And then I just click Save. And you can replace, I've actually done this take several times, so I'm going to replace the existing file, and then there you go. That's where it is. So the last thing that you need to know is that you don't from here just hit the share button like Microsoft wants you to do. The link that you get from that share button is not something that you can put into Blackboard that anyone can process. So you actually need to physically have a copy of this downloadable or downloaded from OneDrive if it's saved out there to your actual machine so that you can attach that file to Blackboard. So you don't share it, and you also don't just share a link to it. But that's how you do an MLA style document in the desktop version of Word. I hope this has been helpful, and thanks very much for watching.